Welcome to the CADD-ET quick training video on the Diagnostics menu. The Diagnostics menu contains a few items, most notably the active and log diagnostic codes, the diagnostic tests, as well as your active and log diagnostic events. Clicking on active diagnostic codes will pull up a list of all currently active codes on your machine. If you would only like to see the codes for your specific ECM, simply uncheck the box and you'll only see those codes. Or if you want the whole machine view, go ahead and just put the check in the box there and it will show you everything. What you can also do on this screen is if you need help troubleshooting that code, so if you're not sure what a certain code means, simply highlight it, click the troubleshoot code button down here, and it will launch a system called component-based troubleshooting, or CBT. And what that system does is it pulls all the diagnostic codes for certain machines and puts them in a nice little table here, and then also contains links to assist with the troubleshooting of that code. So if you click on a link here, you'll see it launches a sys window and it's navigated down automatically right to the troubleshooting procedure for that code. And then you can scroll through and run the steps that are in there to try and remove that code from your machine. We also have the troubleshoot symptom button here. So you can see this also launches component-based troubleshooting, but they also have tables of different systems here. So if you're trying to troubleshoot an engine issue, you can click on the engine and scroll through the various symptoms here and then see the links over here that go back into sys to assist with troubleshooting those. You also have your log diagnostic codes, and this screen is essentially the same as the active screen, except you'll notice the addition of these three columns on the right hand side here. The first column is the occurrence column, so this is how many times this code has occurred, and then your first and your last columns are the first and the last time it was observed on the hour meter. So you'll see this one happened 4 times. Excuse me, it was first observed at 1772 hours and then last observed at 1776. So you can also have the ability on this screen then to clear codes on the log screen. So if it's no longer an issue, you don't want to see it anymore, you can clear that code off the ECM. Simply highlight the code, click your clear button, and then say yes, and the code will go away. It's important to note that certain diagnostic codes, though, will require a factory password in order to clear that code. And if that's the case, CADD-ET will alert you that you need to enter a password, and you can follow your standard procedures at your dealership on how to obtain those factory passwords. Next, we have diagnostic tests. This is a list of all available diagnostic tests on the machine itself. So if you would like to run a test, you simply highlight it out of the list, and say we pick one on a different ECM. If you go to hit start, CADD-ET will ask you if you want to change which ECM you're connected to in order to run that test. But it will allow users then to go through and they can simulate any of these tests. If you go ahead and click start, you'll see CADD-ET will provide the safety warnings and then also kind of step a person through the test itself. So if you were really connected to the machine, the first step is that you must have your engine running. You would have to do that in the trainer functions here. CADD-ET will simulate that, so if you just click next, you'll see it. It says yes, the engine's running, and then you have to meet these conditions here. You can click next to simulate that you've met those, and then just kind of keep stepping your way through the test here. And you'll see it kind of cycles through there. So we'll let it go through its thing here. One thing you'll also see on the diagnostic screens here are the active codes and events down at the bottom of the screen here. If you'll notice, if you click on the button here, the first time you see an active code, it will show up in red. And then if we click away and go back in, you'll see that these are no longer red. If you were to create a new diagnostic code in the course of servicing that machine, or if a new one popped up just over normal operation, it would then show up in red. And they always show up in red the first time just so you know which ones are new and which ones you have seen before. And same goes for the active events. They will show up red the first time, and then the next time you go in, only the new ones would be red. So that leads us to events, both active and logged. And one of the questions we get a lot is what's the difference between an event and an actual diagnostic code? And the easiest way to describe it is that an event is something that has happened on the machine that may or may not cause issues in the long term, but it's something that's out of spec. So in this case, you'll see a low inlet air temperature was observed on the machine, so it flagged that as an event. Just because there's a low inlet air temperature doesn't necessarily mean that there's an issue on the machine, but if it's on there, prolonged, it could cause issues in the future. Whereas a diagnostic code is something that's actually been observed as a problem on the machine that could cause issues to that machine itself. If a sensor's bad or not working, things like that. So that's kind of the high-level overview of the difference between codes and events. Similarly, there are logged events as well. And this looks just like the logged code screen. You have your events over here and your occurrence first and last columns. And then you also can clear these events out of here if you need to. And they go away off the screen. And that's all that we have under the diagnostics menu. So this concludes the training video.